Hey guys, it's Jared with ComparePropFunds.com and Mike as well. Today is Monday, December 8th, and hope everyone's doing well. We've got Compare Prop Funds actually pulled up right now. We Looks like we need to discuss getting a new account for Mike. You want to kind of walk everyone what happened last week since our last video?
Yeah. So Monday and Tuesday, I had winning days on a brand new evaluation last week. And Wednesday, we traded together and I took a slight loss. I was down about 150 on the day, but up 500 overall on the eval. On pace to um, complete my in a reasonable amount of time, kind of a 10-day to pass type thing. I was 1/6 of the way there over a couple of days. Um, um, devoting my full attention thing and really taking it slow. And the result of what happened was I ended up taking a couple of bad trades, losing the 600 that I was up on the account at the time, and chasing that money, and ended up blowing the account. Typical thing to do. If you're going to trade, trade. If you're going to be doing other stuff, don't trade. So I think that's the lesson to learn there.
Absolutely. And just kind of looking at things, we were discussing some of the criteria you look for in an evaluation, and more importantly, how you want your funded account looking like. And I think one of the most important things that you bring up is, as a new trader, you don't like the idea of a consistency rule. And I think that was one of the main things that we highlighted, that you didn't like the idea that, I can't have any home runs in my mix essentially. And you wanted to not have that be a factor for your payout. And so in that discussion, we kind of narrowed our choices down to the three you see on the screen: Lucid Trading, Tradeify, and Perdia Capital. All of these offer both evaluations and instant funding, and once you're funded, there isn't consistency rules. And correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at the 50K Lucid Trading Flex account.
Yeah, just to touch on what you said initially, I think for a new trader, the less rules, the better. And you might say as an experienced trader, well, these rules are actually good for a new trader because they keep you in the parameters of where you should be. You shouldn't be trying to hit home runs and so on and so forth. But I actually find that like all these new all these rules just kind of add to the anxiety of the thing. And one more thing you have to have in the back of your mind, where I would just like to focus on making good trades and not worry about if I'm making too much, if I'm too much, all those. It's just too much, and yeah. So, and then to get to your point, the Lucid Flex, I was looking into, and it does sound really good. And I know that Lucid has a lot of customer reach and satisfaction. They're growing, but I noticed that they are not on Tradeivate. Is that true?
No, they have Tradeify.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I got a little audio that didn't come through for you, but Tradeivate is actually the only platform you can get the Lucid Flex account with right now. They don't offer anything with Rhythmic or with Project X for these new Lucid Flex accounts. It has to be on Tradeivate. And I think that comes back to the issues that Project X is having with they're basically not allowing any other firms to work with them anymore. And then Rhythmic has historically, been a good platform, but everybody kind of likes the web-based interface of Trade Evade, being able to access it on any computer or web browser. So, fortunately, you do have the option to, and really the only option is to go with Trade Evade for the Lucid trading. So, again, kind of just talking through that, I do think it is the best option for you. I believe it's about $84.50 right now at 35% off, which is still a fantastic offer because there is no activation fee. You get, unlike maybe some of the competitors, you actually get a 90-10 split versus an 80-20. And I know as a new guy, you might not be so concerned with the payouts, but what I find is when somebody gets their first payout, the likelihood that they get a second payout in that account is a lot higher than maybe their first ever payout, right? If you do what it takes to get to that payout the first time, I think you'll have a good idea what it's going to take to get to the second and third and so on. And I believe after 5 or 6, they'll take you live. And then the sky's the limit. So that's just my thoughts. So if you're into it, I know the market here is consolidating, kind of down at the lows of the day, but there still might be some opportunities for us to trade.
Yeah, I would. It sounds good. I think I'll probably do that Lucid Flex. It'll be a
50K?
new prop for me, so I'll have a little. Yeah, the 50K. I'll have a little, legwork to do to get it set up, but we'll give it a go.
Well, the great thing about what we do here at Compare Prop Funds is we've worked with all these companies. We're not just um, advertisers for the products. We work with people that we put on our website. We vet them. We get through the payout process. And fortunately, with Lucid, their back-end technology is extremely advanced and robust. That as long as you're going through our site and hopefully using our promo code CPF, not only can you take advantage of the best evaluations, you could probably be set up within a couple of minutes, and you should have your account access set up pretty quickly with them. But being a first-time customer, I'm sure you have to put in new credit card information and all that fun jazz. So that definitely takes time. But we can just jump over to my account, and as you guys know, I am trading 2 per dia instant funded accounts, taking them really slow. I have had one trade so far this morning. I'm trading one micro in the 25K and 2 micros in the 50K. And I'm in no hurry. There is no timeline when you buy an instant funded. As long as you're trading the account, they're not going to get upset with you. I know things we don't normally talk about is there is inactivity rules with these prop firms. Some prop firms make you trade as often as once a week, and some as much as once a month. I think once a month is kind of like the ideal situation for obvious reasons, and we recommend working with firms that aren't going to nitpick your inactivity. I know for me personally, pulling up a personal note, I was in the hospital this year for about a week, and trading wasn't exactly at the top of my mind. And so I think it's always something when you have funded accounts for a long time, you want to make sure that you don't have these really weird rules trip you up. Where, I know, for example, funding ticks, you have to trade once every 7 calendar days. So like most firms, it's a Monday through Friday. As long as you trade during that week, that counts. Um, where funding ticks, let's say you trade on a Monday 1 week, and then you don't trade until the following Friday, you would actually lose your account. And so that I know is extremely frustrating for people that don't know the rules, but that's really why you want to use a site like comparePropFunds.com and have that information shared with you so you don't have to, go through a 20-page contract when you're funded and find that one line they're going to trip you up on. So I'm just sitting here watching. Kind of looks like we're creating a bottoming pattern here. Um, as you probably know, Mikey, this is a big week for us. FOMC is on Wednesday, so in 48 hours, we're gonna know. About 48 hours, we'll know if there's a rate cut or not. I would imagine there is going to be, and Powell might signal, though. It might be a fade the news kind of a situation. So, just because we get the rate cut doesn't mean the market's going to take off. I think right now the market anticipates a rate cut, so it'll probably key off of what he says in his statement uh, 30 minutes after the announcement. So that'll be really important to watch. But over the weekend, Mike, anything that you kind of discussed or thought about from, you know, having the evaluation, things that you're going to change going into your next evaluation?
Yeah, I think for this particular situation, it's gonna just be for our videos, and that's it. Because I think
Okay.
again, as a new trader, it's nice to be held accountable, I guess, for your actions in some ways. um, yeah, in that way, you're not just gambling, and not just trying to hit home runs. You're actually taking it serious. Even if you have unlimited funds, if you're just on there trying to hit home runs,
Mhm.
you're just there. What's the point? You might as well just take it to a casino.
Yeah, I think I always try when I'm working with and talking with newer traders, try to explain to them that it's really important to not only journal your trades, um, and kind of note what it was, what did you claim your setup was, how did you define your stop, but also, take note of the emotions you're feeling while trading, and if you notice like, hey, I caught myself sizing up when I was losing. That's a classic recipe for failure with especially day trading when you have to be right or wrong, and if being wrong means I'm going to be really wrong, you're really going to have issues getting through this and being a funded trader. Um, a lot of people might say I start digging a hole and then I size up and then I start taking more trades. And I do believe that over trading and oversizing are two fundamental mistakes that traders make that will inevitably bite you in the ass if you don't kind of take a hold of that and understand that everyone has emotional hijacking. Everyone has things that occur in their life where the emotions flood their brain and they're unable to think logically or clearly, and that um, gets portrayed into the trading habits. And so I think, a good thing to note, especially for newer traders, that if you catch yourself doing that, what I would recommend is trying to set a rule of sizing down when you lose. So let's say you lose $500, um, and you normally you're trying to make a couple $100 a trade. I would recommend like switch from a mini to a micro and just try to have a couple winning trades and don't worry about the P&L. Worry about the next trade being right, being sound, being a good trade and not just another trade.
Yeah, that's probably good advice. Um, but yeah, then when you're sized down to one micro and you hit a big one, you always feel FOMO for that too. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I understand that. I think what I would say is, I was helping a trader recently trying to pass a Top Step account, and we what I liked about Project X and more so than Tradeovate, and what I really recommend to people is get some online journal software. I use TraderSync. Really happy with them because they automatically sync with my Trade Evade accounts, so I don't have to like upload files. And look at your daily performance. Like, start trading over a longer period of time. We talked about this with this trader, and what we found out was, he'd been trading for about 2 weeks. He ended up blowing up the account. But what I noticed was when his first trade was successful, he generally had a green day. And when his first trade was a trade, he generally had a losing day. And I think like what I was trying to explain to him was, the psychology of like, okay, you got a snowball effect and things start to roll in your favor. You start kind of that positive reaffirmation loop and like telling yourself, okay, I'm doing it right. And you tend to make good trades where in this trader's instance, if his first trade was a loser, he would kind of go in that opposite direction. He would try to start to force trades, oversize, overtrade. And so what I told him was, I hate for you to think that this is, a bad idea because like what you're saying, well, what if the next trade is going to be a good trade? Well, what I told him was you should quit on any day you have your first trade be red and see if you can trade for a month. So like instead of trying to think about I need to worry about my P&L, I think you should worry about I need to worry about having this account for the whole period. Like, there's not a necessarily, a lot of these evaluations do have monthly fees, so it is realistic you want to pass within 20 trading days so you don't get charged another fee. But instead of worrying about that during the first week, you should just be worried about, okay, I need to have sound days. I need to either book a winner or book a loser, but I can't allow myself to go past a daily loss limit and blow this account up. Like, I can't allow one trade to ruin my account. And start to like actually spend time after you're done trading and look at all your trades, and I guarantee you on losing days you're going to be like, wow, like I have so much homework because I took so many more trades, where usually when you have winning trades you don't need that many. You'll take a few trades in that day and you're like, okay, I'm good, I feel good for the day, because you're more unfortunately worried about your P&L than making good and bad trades. Where I'd like to see more experienced traders get is you're looking at your trades and you're just saying, hey, these were all good trades. I had 5 red days in a row, but every one of my trades followed my setup criteria, my take profit, my stop loss, and I'm just on a cold streak. And that will allow you to get out of it knowing you're monitoring your setups and monitoring your rules than worrying about, okay, the next trade's going to make me green again. And that's I think really important for traders to understand is like if you're worried about your P&L, and that's what I'm trying to show you guys with these per dia accounts trading 1 micro and 2 micros on a 50K is, I'm already 25% of the way there on my 50K, and I've been trading maybe a little over a week, and I'm a third of the way there on my 25K to having these two instant funded accounts have open payout windows and be in a live trading account with absolutely no rules, just a 90-10 split, and the sky's the limit. You can do a lot of damage with a really small size. And if you don't think about your P&L, you just think about, I need good trades, and I have to, if I review my trades at the end of the day and every one of these trades was a good trade, it followed my rules, it followed my setup, I didn't oversize, I didn't overtrade, then that is how you should deem success. It should not be I had a red day, a green day, and that's success and failure. It shouldn't be based on the status of your P&L. It should be based on your actual trades. So something to think about for new traders for sure.
Yeah, as a new trader, I think a successful day is not blowing the account.
That too, yeah, for sure. Um, Speaking to that, I know I wouldn't be the only trader that talks about it. There are news events that occur, like, the volatility that'll come in on Wednesday, but also, we have CPI next week. A lot of traders, we could say Nutty Bar, for example, will try to just pass evaluations in one trade, in that one print, in that 1 minute. And what I think you and I talked about even is that is extremely possible. You know, some of these accounts, like the Lucid Flex account you're going to work on, you need to at most have 2 days of a 50% consistency. But um, what's important is that you kind of acknowledge that if you are winning where you're just all in, full port, everyone loves that word, full port. If you trade like that, you're going to take that behavior into the funded account. And that is, again, a recipe for sure. You could have one trade that's fantastic, but you could also blow the account up in one trade. And so, like you said, working on base hits, I think, is what you want to be more focused on.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
live. I have a Lucid Flex account.
All right, you're in. All right. And I'm actually, now that you're saying it, I am potentially a few minutes away from, I have a long forming right now. So we'll see if I can get it. We've been kind of headed straight down all morning since the open. And, let's see if this is the bottoming pattern I was kind of hoping for. If you look at my screen, this gray area is the volume profile. So this is the volume based on price. We can see we have a really high node back up here in NASDAQ. That may be where the market wants to climb back up to. I know you're trading ES. We can kind of look at that and see if there's similar high volume node. It looks like most of the volume now is at this lower level. That's technically a bearish indicator. If like you look at like the high and the low of your trading uh, price and the most volumes occurring at the bottom of that um, range, you're going to kind of generally continue lower, right? If the market's finding volume and deals at a lower level, then you can generally assume the market wants to continue lower. So my long setup just got invalidated, and in fact, I might be looking at a short here shortly now. So longs out the window for me, but that's just the setup I'm using with this account.
Yeah, we're heading towards low of the day in ES here. It hasn't gone below that, but it's only a couple points away.
It is very close, yeah. Well, what we'll do is hopefully I can get a setup or you can get a setup, and at the same time, I guess as a more veteran trader, that's kind of a bad recommendation. Even if we're on this and we don't have trades, that's not a bad thing. It's probably not great for entertainment purposes, but um, sitting here and not taking trades is just as good as being in a trade.
Well, as I stated, a good day is me not blowing an account. So even if there's 0 trades, I break even. That's a winner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he bounced off the 60 level and kind of heading back. But see, and he's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've just had one trade so far today, and thankfully it was a winner. But I wouldn't want to sit here all day and not see any other setup. But we could note that everyone knows in the marketplace Wednesday is going to be a major market mover with the FOMC. So seeing consolidation on Monday and Tuesday ahead of FOMC is not out of the ordinary. In fact, I would categorize it as very ordinary. So if we, sweep down, then we climb back up towards the high of the day and fade away again. I don't think I really ever see direction ahead of FOMC unless it's like some kind of news and people start catching on to it. For example, if somebody secretively knew there wasn't going to be a rate cut and the market was just selling off into the FOMC, I would argue, people knew. But I do think there'll be a rate cut, and I think the market's just going to kind of hold into that and see what it wants to do for the next leg. And just to finish this thought, one of the best trading days is the day after FOMC. Do you know why? No? Mike, do you know why?
This week.
I find Thursdays to be the best because the day after FOMC tends to be a trending day. So whether it's up or down, statistically speaking, there's generally a trend in one direction the day after FOMC. So it's generally an easier trade as long as you're on the right side of it, right? If the market's climbing higher and you're shorting it, not going to have a good day. Um, but if the market's going higher and you're just kind of getting on that trend, you're going to have a good day generally. So that's one thing that I want to share that I know from my years of trading is the day after FOMC is generally a trending day. Generally, people wait for the FOMC and then they start investing or divesting accordingly.
Yeah. So a couple big days. You got GameStop earnings tomorrow, and then FOMC Wednesday. So.
Now, do you think GameStop has enough to move the market, or are you just talking your personal book right now?
I mean, it's it depends who you talk to. There's a lot of tinfoil surrounding GameStop, and people think institutions never closed all their short positions and kick the can down the road for 5 years. But yeah, I don't know. I think they've had 3 earnings beats in a row, and people are feeling pretty good about this. So we'll see. Personally, I think it'll be a good thing for me and my port. I don't know if much will happen though on the market as a whole past that.
Sure. Right. It doesn't have a major market cap, but you're kind of. I think we should highlight again. We're not financial advisors. We're not here to give you financial advice or tell you to take a trade. We're just here for entertainment purposes, and we will just divulge personal information for the benefit of our listeners and just to kind of better understand what we look at and what we think about as traders. And if you did have a position in GameStop, obviously, anytime you have a position in a company, you want to be aware of when that company reports earnings and what the potential is. Because if you're, let's say, in some cases, really long the stock, some smarter trading moves could be potentially creating a hedge against an earnings report to soften the blow if there is unexpected things that bring the stock lower. So, I think that's important to highlight if you're, holding any type of position, you always want to be aware of events that can move the stock higher or lower. And so with GameStop that we're talking about, obviously earnings could send the stock much higher. Obviously, the stock's been much higher in recent years, or it could knock the stock down a peg. So, good thing to kind of be aware of. There are actually some other rather important earnings this week. Oracle is this week. Another one that I like, this one's just again personal thoughts. I love to generally short into Restoration Hardware earnings. Not to go off on a tangent, but their CEO is one of the most interesting, I want to be careful with my words, interesting people I hear on earnings calls. He basically is willing to blame anything that's been in the news on how it's affecting his company. And so I haven't looked at the stock. I'm not sure I'm going to have a play this quarter, but if the stock has if it's high, in my opinion, I would look for a short. They tend to have flippy floppy. They've done better lately, but Restoration Hardware is one I always personally watch.
Did you see the new? I don't think this will affect earnings, but they have a new. It's almost like a warehouse concept in Detroit. It's just this giant old mansion looking.
Is it like an outlet play?
What's that?
Is it like this warehouse? Is it going to be like an outlet, like a discounted restoration hardware?
No, I don't think that's a concept you'll ever see from RH. Most of the RHs, have restaurants and fine
Mm-hmm.
dining, and it's like a
Right.
whole experience,
Oh,
and
okay. So
you
you're
know,
talking about a new
cheap
location that they
way.
built out in Chicago?
It's a
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
the low of the day.
Mm-hmm. So I might have a short actually setting up here shortly. We'll see if this is gonna do anything here in the next few minutes, but not that I see real selling going on, but there's certainly no buyers in this market right now. I'm getting a lot of audio issues, so we'll have to check into that after the live. I'm not, I don't know if we'll have to try some other things for you guys because I'm at a loss.
Audio.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, nice. Good luck.
Thanks.
Do you have a target?
Yeah, I'm looking for about a 10-point move, but I'll move that if it aggressively goes down. I'm short at 68.47, and my target is 68.38.
Okay. And I have a short that just set up, so I'm going to get short myself. And I might have just misclicked on accident, and I'm in, so I need to get out of one of these, hopefully. Come on, short. My short, my stop is, I believe, about 628 in NQ. We're at 14. Um, and I'm accidentally double sized, so I'm going to try to take one off. And I'll probably have to stop that.
YOLO it.
um, I don't think so. I'm going to let it work, and if I get stopped out at my normal stop, I'll let it stop everything out, and it'll just be what it is. But okay, now I've got some divergence in the indicators I use, so not ideal, but let's see if we can get this flush back down.
This is very nervous for me. It's at right at break even. I could.
Okay.
I would stop it. What?
So you guys can see I'm still on my trade. You see my P&L moving around here. I do have a take profit on the uh, extra contracts I have on at break even. Um, It looks like my stop is actually higher than 28. Um, yeah, because I'm not going to be getting stopped out here in a few points. I'm still going to be in this short. However, I have a new setup to the long side that is potentially forming here, and that would actually have me do a reversal trade. So I do have to stick to my rules here. And it did not fire. So
Dump it. Dump
yeah.
it.
Is that one of your go-tos when the market's not performing? If you're short, you like to say dump it.
Yeah, it's not working right now. I'm about to get stopped out.
As am I. Few points away from being stopped out for me.
Stop filled.
I'm at 40 and a
there's
quarter.
a $200 loser.
So you guys can see there, I have my stop in place. I'm not worried about getting my take profit in there because I am more than likely getting stopped out on this short. Well, we will see here. Pretty close. Now everyone's heard of the trades where you get stopped out and then it immediately reverses and continues back in the direction you wanted. But have you ever, Mike, had a trade where it came about a tick or two to your stop, but didn't hit it, and then it worked in your favor?
I'm never that lucky.
And
What happens more often than not is I get wicked out and then it goes back to where I wanted it to. FOMO in late and lose even more.
Mm-hmm. Well, there for me, I got stopped out. Kind of came right up to it. Let's see. I have a trade I could take in another account. It would be another setup, but unfortunately for this one, I oversized. I had 4 contracts of micros in my 50K and 2 in my mini, so it went from a positive P&L to negative, but at the end of the day, I probably should have just immediately reversed one of those trades. Would have saved me a little bit of money, but lesson learned, and not going to lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, at one point we were about 3 ticks positive.
Okay.
Not to, and then I ended up losing $200 on the trade. So not ideal, but again, as long as I'm patient, I don't just put back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I might just call it a day here, Jared.
Yeah.
On that note, I appreciate the comparison of the different props, and excited to try this lucid flex, and hopefully I can pass this eval.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually thinking the same thing myself. So, thanks for coming on, Mike, with us, and discussing your week and what you have planned for this week ahead. And I might take a couple trades off streams. I'll recap for you guys, but thanks again for tuning in,